Before the world wakes up, the most powerful men have already won their day. What separates the extraordinary from the average? Is it talent, luck, or something far more deliberate? While most men hit snooze, scroll mindlessly, and drift through their mornings, the 1% are already in control, sharpening their minds, strengthening their bodies, and forging the discipline that sets them apart. There is one crucial habit that the most successful men practice before 8 a.m. It's not checking emails, hitting the gym, or grinding at work. It's something deeper, something that rewires their entire reality. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus knew this. So do today's elite performers, leaders, warriors, visionaries. They understood that power isn't just about wealth or status. It's built through relentless self-mastery. Most men react to life, but the greats, they command it, starting before sunrise. Master this, and you'll separate yourself from 99% of people forever. Let's dive in. He awakens before the world wakes. As others grope for their phones, overwhelmed by noise before they ever leave their bed, he walks with intention. His thoughts are focused, his resolve unbroken. He does not crave approval, nor does he let the mundane drain his life. The strong man is a citadel, invulnerable to distraction, unmoved by the turmoil around him. Where others respond, he watches. The headlines cry out in crises, the markets swing, the world becomes hysterical. But he stands firm. He knows a basic principle. What happens outside is not under his control, but his reaction is his. His peace is not for sale, nor are his emotions controlled by headlines. He treads the way of self-control, unshaken by temptation, unswayed by the transitory. Every day he plots his course, not by hoping, though, but by action. He does not bumble into his day. He demands it. The groundwork for his triumph is laid before the world even stirs. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, commanded an empire but first conquered himself. Jocko Willink, a battle-hardened warrior of discipline, gets up before the sun, demonstrating that victory is taken not in the quiet hours before war. The contemporary billionaire empire builder does not spend his first minutes swiping through distractions. Power is not something they aspire to. It is something they nurture. A man of power is not created. He is forged. And it starts when he opens his eyes, before the world has a chance to lay its demands on him, before the distraction of others reaches his mind. The strong leader makes his initial and most significant choice, defending the first hour of his day. He doesn't wake up to mayhem. He doesn't let email, news, or social media take over his attention before he has even defined his own agenda. He starts with quietness, not response. Marcus Aurelius, the leader of the greatest empire in the world, might have awoken to the demands of war, politics, and crisis. But before he confronted the world, he looked within. He wrote in his diary, not for the validation of others, but to harden his mind against the trials that lay ahead. He recalled the principles that would inform his actions, strengthening his resolve before he ventured out of his chamber. If the ruler of Rome, weighed down by the destiny of an empire, could find this time for himself, what excuse does any man have? The contemporary equivalent of this habit is easy, but few possess the self-control to maintain it. The strong man defends his first hour like a king defending his throne. He might write, sharpening his mind by thinking. He might meditate, grounding himself in the present before the tempest of the day starts. He might read deeply, nourishing his mind instead of scrolling through the distractions that weaken lesser men. This hour is holy because it sets the pace of the day. A man who starts with intention will walk through his hours with certainty and control. But a man who arises and at once responds to messages, to headlines, to notifications, has already yielded. He is no longer master. He is a slave to the moods of the world. The initial choice of the day is paramount. It is between discipline and chaos, power and passivity. The man of power never allows his attention to be diverted until he decides where to concentrate it. He begins his day master of his domain, and thus, the day is his to command. Before the world awakens, before excuses can be made, the great man has already endured combat. While others sleep swathed in comfort, he's outside in the cold, exercising not only his body but his will. He knows what the Stoics learned centuries ago. Discipline is liberty, and willing hardship is the way to real strength. Jocko Willink, ex-Navy SEAL and symbol of unyielding discipline, uploads a photo of his watch each morning, 4:30 a.m. No caption, no apologies, only evidence. While the rest of the world is holding on to sleep, he's honing his edge. This is not ego. This is not vanity. This is about building grit, about showing himself, before the world even requires it, that he is the master of his domain. A man who can push through discomfort when no one is watching is a man who will not fold when the weight of the world is upon him. The Stoics practiced this principle long before modern warriors gave it a name. They trained their bodies through endurance, through exposure to the elements, through deliberate discomfort. Seneca described going barefoot in the cold to be reminded that he was not exempt from discomfort. The Roman legions, the most disciplined military force ever known, trained without pause, so that when war came, adversity was not a surprise. It was who they were. A weak body equals a weak mind. But a man who has mastered himself physically has already begun building the mental strength necessary to withstand whatever life sends his way. The correspondence is irrefutable. A man who masters his body demands strength, endurance, and discipline from himself, cultivates the same qualities in his mind. He does not crumble under stress. He does not take the easy way out. He finds the value in effort because he sees the truth. The body and mind are not two things. They are mirror images of one another. Comfort is the enemy. The instant a man is willing to settle for comfort rather than toil, he has already started to fall apart. The mighty man knows this, so he proudly goes out of his way to seek discomfort. He runs in sub-zero temperatures. He does weights when his body is willing to quit. He struggles against softness with every part of his body because he knows a universal principle. A man who doesn't test himself will be tested by life in ways he's not ready for. Mastery of the body leads to mastery of the will. The man who can push himself beyond what is comfortable is the man who will not be broken by the trials of life. When the world tests him, he does not falter, because long before it ever challenged him, he had already challenged himself. The strong man does not wait for life to challenge him. He challenges himself first. He does not pray for a soft life, nor is he afraid of difficulties. Rather, he goes in search of discomfort, recognizing that the man who afflicts himself before affliction comes will be the man who will stand firm when it does. This is the substance of premeditatio malorum, the Stoic exercise of imagining the worst. Seneca, Rome's greatest mind, did not protect himself from the idea of bad luck. He invited it. He would picture himself losing everything, being banished to exile, losing his wealth and position, not to ask for unhappiness, but to ready himself for it. He knew that a man who has previously suffered in his mind will not break when hardship arrives in life. Thought, however, is not sufficient. The body has to be tested. The will has to be tried. This is why strong men set obstacles for themselves ahead of time, before life gets the chance. Taking cold showers in the morning, Because if a man cannot tolerate discomfort in his own home, how will he tolerate actual hardship? Fasting, not because food is short, but to remind himself that hunger does not master him. Reading challenging books, not for fun, but to harden the mind against complication. Walking in silence, because if he is not able to sit quietly in his own mind, he is not master of it. Seneca lived in poverty, dressing in tatters and dining on plain food, although he was among the richest men of his day. Why? Because he understood that luck is capricious. He taught himself to bear loss before it could strike, so that if his wealth vanished, his resilience would stay on. And when he was finally compelled to kill himself at the behest of Emperor Nero, he didn't plead, he didn't cry. He faced death with the same serenity that he had mastered in life. The world doesn't give a forewarning of the time when it will test you. The hurricane arrives without prior notice. The man who spent his whole lifetime shying away from hardship will break beneath the pressure. Yet the man who has prepared himself in adversity, he who has had to tread flames before they got to him, is not afraid. Hardship need not be evaded. Hardship must be embraced. All struggle, every moment of unease, is an education, an honing of the blade. The strong man does not crack, because far before life was able to prove him, he had already proved himself. The final habit is not big, nor is it outward-facing. It does not need money, prestige, or physical strength, and yet it is the single greatest thing that divides the strong from the weak, the disciplined from the lost. The strongest of men don't respond to life. They work towards it. They don't wait for the storm to arise before building the foundation. They train, condition, and fortify. The strongest of men don't respond to life. They work towards it. They don't wait for the storm to arise before building the foundation. They train, condition, and fortify. And this is what intentional suffering represents. The decision to suffer discomfort by their own making, so that by the time that life will give its tests, as it always must, they will already be resilient. Before entering the world, before speaking, before acting, the strong man takes a moment of pure stillness. Early in the morning, when the world is still, he writes. He does not merely make a to-do list. He clarifies his mind. He sharpens his intent. He reminds himself of the man he wishes to be. This is not habit. This is training. His mind is a weapon, and each word he sets down on paper sharpens its edge. This is not a hard habit to adopt. Deep introspection for a few minutes, an intentional intention setting. And yet it is the habit that creates all the difference. For in that one moment, he does what the weak refuse to do. He seizes the mind. He does not glide through life. He doesn't allow circumstances to determine how he feels. He has already resolved who he will be prior to the world trying to convince him otherwise. You don't get to where you want to go. You fall to where you've been trained. The man who trains his mind every morning will never waver at the times of trials. The man who gets himself ready for the wars that are to come will never run from them when they come. Power is not bestowed. It is developed, and it starts in the early morning hours, long before anyone notices. By 8 a.m., most men are asleep, sleeping through the alarm, or swimming in distractions. Their day starts in response, in vulnerability, in indecision. But the strong man, he has already emerged victorious. His mind is strengthened, his body pushed, his mission defined. While others squander the best hours of their day, he has already gained momentum that will propel him for the rest of the day. The question is not whether you have time to do this. The question is, do you have the will? Time is an illusion, an excuse for those who won't take control. The distinction between those who lead and those who follow is not opportunity nor luck. It is discipline, the choice to rise with purpose, to prepare for life rather than be tossed about by it, to hammer oneself into something stronger, something unshakable. Begin tomorrow and adopt just one of these habits. Wake up with intention. Condition your body. Challenge your mind. Record your thoughts before the world gets a chance to put their own upon you. Pick one, stick with it, and notice the difference yourself. Leave a comment below. Let me know which habit speaks most to you. And if you're looking for more lessons in self-mastering, subscribe. The path of discipline is not for everyone, but for those who walk it, power is inevitable.